Greetings, everyone. This is Koku from the Bitter Medicine Podcast, inviting you to tune in to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Peace, family. This is Oni, inviting you to listen to the pro-Black perspective, where Black problems are addressed with Black solutions.
All right, welcome to episode 19 of the Harsh Reality Podcast. I'm your host, DA, and today I'm joined by my esteemed co-host, first the one and only Mr. L. Miguel.
Yes, sir. Back in the building.
And I have some bad news and some good news. Unfortunately, due to some scheduling conflicts, Sharice will no longer be a regular co-host on the pod, but we definitely wish her the best of luck and success with the Queen's Council platform. And hopefully we definitely going to be able to get on a guest spot sometime in the near future. And that being said, on with the good news, I'm proud to announce the beautiful conscious sister Mars, who many of you remember from our Harsh Reality Presents interview a few months back, has agreed to come on as our new regular co-host, allowing us to keep up with that, much needed divine feminine energy and balance, Mayat, here on the show. So welcome, Mars.
Thank you for having me.
And we welcome. And we, of course, we got behind the scenes our director of media relations and resident fact checker, Rye. Where you at, Rye?
Hello.
Yeah. So everybody's in the building. Voltron has assembled. So on this podcast, we plan to hit on various topics revolving around the latest news, business, family, life, hip hop, social commentary, and any recent headlines that affect our community. And we got to throw the disclaimer out there. By no means do we claim to be experts, just a few melanated people with a small platform here to add our 2 cents to the various subjects we plan on discussing today. And also make sure y'all follow the Harsh Reality Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. First, we got to shout out the Melanated Conscious Society, MCS, headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida. It's a mentorship organization teaching various life skills as well as knowledge of self to our youth. Very important mission there. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram for the latest news, meetings, and valuable information. Also, definitely shout out to our KWAZ radio family. KWAZ providing the latest and greatest and conscientious-oriented content. Follow them on all forms of social media, as well as subscribe to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, hosted by Goku, and the Pro-Black Perspective, hosted by the Brother Only. And lastly, the podcast is now on Patreon. Please donate. And of course, all proceeds go to upgrading the show, providing the best content we can for loyal listeners. And also for those looking to be featured in our Black-owned business spotlight, or just wanted to drop a comment or concern about the show, hit us at the email at theharshrealitypod@gmail.com. Now, without further ado, let's get to the topics. And the first thing I got on the docket is the surging interest in crypto and these heist beast stocks they are out here pushing, with the latest example being Elon Musk tweeting about Dogecoin. And we also had the recent surge in the AMC and also the GameStop stock, which went crazy. So is crypto and stock pumping the new grift, particularly preying on the undereducated community? And also, why is there a need for Black people to educate themselves outside of propaganda? And finally, should the SEC step in and kind of regulate things, which I think they've been doing, or is it the platforms themselves doing it? I don't know. I know I got rid of Robinhood. They can kiss my ass. But what you guys got in terms of the surge of interest in crypto and the hype beast stocks we got rolling out here? Throw it over to you, L.
I have a hate-love relationship with it. I'd like to see people take power back from the establishment, but at the same time, I think people's miseducation upon, I think I'm seeing a lot of people on social media think that they're going to get rich quick, right? They're looking for these overinflated stocks. And I just hope people realize that, in order for you to make money, in which we've seen with GameStop, right? We've seen this very play out, that in order for you to make money, somebody has to lose money, right? Or buy in to lose money, essentially, right? Like when GameStop put a whole, I think they, Robinhood put a stop on being able to sell GameStop stock And which is crazy because if you can't sell it, how are you going to make your money, right? Like, essentially stealing money from people. But I just hope that people understand that, just because you bought in. I think what the problem was, people were buying GameStop stock at like $150 a share, right? And in retrospect, I think Microsoft is sitting at like $240 a share, right? And there's a Microsoft computer or operating system, probably every household, or at least majority of the households in the world, So how is GameStop shooting up to $500 a share? I think people have these unrealistic expectations of getting rich, and it's okay to dream. A lot of people made money, but a lot of people lost money, and I think as a Black community, especially because we're very, very trendy. We follow waves and we ride waves, and when stuff goes wrong and then we start pulling a race card or the economics card, I think we just need to kind of ride our own wave, and
definitely. And I think something interesting with Elon Musk, I think he tweeted out something about Dogecoin, and then that thing shot up, I think, a little bit. It's only like a nickel or something right now. I think it shot up to like 8 cents or something, which, I mean, if you look at the percentages, that's a decent percentage on the return. But then he did that, and then he went and bought like a 1.5 billion
Bitcoin, right?
In Bitcoin.
Yeah, so that show you what, like if he really felt that strongly, why didn't he buy 1.5 in Dogecoin, right? Dogecoin, whatever it's called, right? So, people really was retweeting Elon Musk, Dogecoin to the moon, in retrospect, he went around and bought Bitcoin, so.
Exactly. You got anything on that Mars, the newcomer here? What you got on the crypto and the stocks? Is that your area?
I would honestly say that is not my area at all. As far as like the limited interaction that I've had with people deciding, okay, I'm gonna, suddenly buy into this, is that the uneducated aspect of them doing it. It's like they're just following the trend that's on social media, which is a very dangerous precedent to do. So instead of some people putting out there on social media, hey, go ahead and do this. Maybe what we should be doing for our community is saying, hey, if you're interested, let's actually have a Zoom meeting or something about this to educate yourselves before you actually go and do this and get caught up in the pipeline of things.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. It was crazy though. Remember mid last year, I think the first instance of this happened with Hertz, where Hertz filed for bankruptcy. They were sitting at like 40 cents a share. And then people started pumping into Hertz, right? And pretty much was able to pay off their investors, the debt investors. But they went from 40 cents a share to like almost $7 a share. And when the SEC started looking into it, they really didn't have anything to back that. But because everybody was saying buy Hertz, it kind of inflated the evaluation. And I think I jumped out at like $5.40, but I remember in the stock trading group that I created on Facebook, a lot of people was like, do I sell Hertz or do I hold, and it's like, man, it wasn't no money to begin with. You should have got your money and got out, so exactly. I think the lack of common sense, maybe not just the formal education or even like the informal education about certain stock tricks, but like, come on, let's use some common sense. If a company goes bankrupt, don't go pour your money into a company that owes everybody, it's crazy.
And that's one thing I reiterated too, man. But first and foremost, if you're getting your stock tips off Twitter and Facebook and shit, you stop it. You need to stop it. But secondly, one thing I said, man, if you got the game and you made your bread off of it, get out. All these people was trying to think they was like leading a revolution, like I'm gonna hold on and screw the hedge funds. It's like, man, it's thousands of hedge funds. So while you holding on, pumping that stock up, now the other hedge funds are just gonna sell short. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't dictate which all hedge funds have invested in it, but people don't do their research in terms of stocks and the crypto. And I think that's starting to become like the new scam, right? Because you can't crack cards like you used to. That was the new thing. I think the past like 6-7 years is a lot of credit scam, right? A lot of identity fraud, which I think a lot of the banks, a lot of the financial institutions have kind of caught up to that, right? They did little things like go with chip cards. You know what I'm saying? I know right now, if I buy anything outside this state, like if I go somewhere else, they lock it down. So the card cracking ain't what it used to be. So I think Now it's like, all right, we're going to move on to the next grift, the next hustle, which is going to be the stock tips, right? Everybody think they can get rich off these, particularly with this GameStop, the way a couple mean ass came out of that situation, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, this is the new pump. And anybody can make a coin. Coins ain't regulated. Anybody can make a crypto. You can make it out of thin air. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I like to keep like Dogecoin, for instance. Let's say that one. You can't even buy that on Coinbase. Coinbase is probably the most legit app in terms of buying your crypto, right? I want to say they filed for like SEC to be acknowledged as like a legit bank. I don't know if it went through yet, but if you don't see it on Coinbase, it's probably a fraud coin, or it's probably like a coin that's, not certified.
It ain't or it's not circulating enough volume, right? Like like when we talked about Acoin, right? Akon's initiative and Segal trying to build that smart city. They're pretty much trying to build Wakanda, and they're trying to I think he wants to go all cryptocurrency, and he has his own cryptocurrency, Acoin. But you can't buy Acoin off of Coinbase, but you can track it. And if you look at it, it's only like, I think equivalent of $400,000 worth of Acoin circulating, right? So no, it's not enough skin in the game for them to really put it on that platform for trading, right? So I think, to your last point, should the SEC step in? I think, and this is going to be an unpopular position, but I think they should step in, because now you're making the game, and granted, it wasn't a free market anyway, but what you're going to do is a lot of people, just like anything, right? Like, just look at how we fell out for toilet paper. Like, people was bugging out over toilet paper, flipping toilet paper, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and even like the N95 mask, right? The one Jewish guy in Brooklyn or the Bronx got raided for reselling masks, So anytime there's hype behind anything, the PS5s come out like every other week, and people buying them and reselling them for $1,200. Like, it's just the hype behind having stuff. We all in the house, and I think people just want to show that they're living above the poverty line, even though we know 60% of jobs are gone right now with the lack of the entertainment, services just aren't there. So I think people just finding something to attach themselves to, and they're jacking up the game. They're jacking up real investments. And I mean, some people going to make money, but I'll say, like, my cousin told me, he said, yo, Mike, when you get in, you just have an exit plan of what you want to come out with, and stick to your exit plan. But I think some people go into these situations and they're like, oh, I'm gonna ride this until I can't ride it no more. And then they realize they just lost money, So I don't think our community has that opportunity to go through those harsh lessons, right? So, I think the SEC should step in some form of fashion before they start imposing all kind of crazy regulations where it stops the average person from being able to trade.
That's the one thing is the lure of fast money, man. The lure of fast money is like the greatest motivator ever, right? Especially this latest generation, man, which tries to, all generations, we try to avoid as hard work as we can, but this latest generation, that fast money is a lure to them. So you know what I'm saying? The dope game messed up, the car cracking messed up. We gonna move to this next hustle. So it should be some kind of regulation, but as to what it should be, I don't know, because it's like you got one side that also is kind of shady in what they do, right? They allow certain people to get away, like the stock market. Like I said, it's never been a free market, right? It's always been for the elites. And now some of that blowback is you do have a lot of amateur investors in the game, right? And of course, when you have amateur investors in the game, the market's it's not going to be as predictable as it's been in the past, right? So, like you said, people that have legit investment, people that just invest in legit stocks, things that's going to grow, companies that's actually going to grow, they're kind of screwed over when you have these hype beast stocks coming in the game. So I can agree to your point, but I'm just not sure the SEC is the right people to, regulate it, right? Because they control by the politicians. Politicians also dabble in the stock market. So I don't know who would be that neutral party to control it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I can, anytime we talk about government, that's controlling what's supposed to be free market. That's a form of socialism. But I always look at the worst case scenario, because the worst case scenario seems to pop up in my life more than later. I just don't want to see, like what's a old buddy named LeBron James' friend that's an agent, Rich Paul. I don't want to see a Rich Paul rule created where now they're saying, well, you don't have the credentials to trade because people eating or losing. They're gonna say that people are losing too bad, so they need to regulate it. But really, in reality, that, like you said, there was millionaires that were made off of GameStop.
Now that's an interesting thing you threw out there though. Should everybody be allowed to trade, bro? Like let's say, let's take a car for instance, right? You can't just turn 16, hop in the car and just go, right? You got to take a test. They got to make sure you can drive, the basics. You can go left, you can go right, you can park this thing, you won't hit nobody, right? So, also shoot firearms nowadays. You got to get half the states, you got to get a firearm license. You got to, take, if you want to conceal carry, you got to take a class, right? But it seems like for no financial stuff, it's just like, all right, just throw your money out there. Good luck. You know what I'm saying? Should there be some kind of education in it?
Yeah, because it's throwing off the true evaluations of stock. You know what I mean? It's hard to make a good, true, and what I learned, I took an accounting class last year and they taught based off of stocks and how to read a financial statement. I guarantee you, and I'm going to throw out a humble number, 40% of people don't know what they're looking at on a financial statement. If you was to point to a line and didn't have a column, like the header of the section on the financial statement, and asked them, is it a liability or asset, they wouldn't be able to tell you which one it is. So, it's hard to when you have people that don't understand what the company is, right? Like, how much money does this company own? Owe people, owe their investors, right? Like, how much skin or do you plan to get in the game with this company? So it's things like that I think because I have a lot of people that hit me up and say, should I put $50 into this? Like, bro, don't even waste your time, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you trying to think you about to get rich off this $50, like, you might as well, like you said, cancel Christmas, bro. Go stuff that $50 under the mattress and put your time. And I think too, people are looking at stocks like it's going to be a form of cash flow. Like, no, at the most successful people I see take the 8, 10, 12% growth and then they get out. They don't look for the 800% returns, like that's slim to none. That's not happening. But you know what? That's what's changing. Those are happening more than probably what they've been in the last, 2 decades. So, I digress. I just hope people, especially when they're gambling with house money, stop gambling with your bill money. Don't be using your kids' college tuition, whatever you have saved up, and saying, I'm gonna dump this in a GameStop because everybody's making money. Before you know it, you just lost something of real value. That can get real return investment. So
it's like back in the day, man. I remember that Young Buck song. He said, "Don't go in the club throwing your rent money trying to stunt, right? Don't throw your rent money in the stock market." And I'll say a rule of thumb. I ended with this: if you ain't got 6 months of survival in a bank account, leave it alone. You got bigger fish to fry, right? You should be able to live 6 months off your savings. If you can't do that, you don't need to be in the stock game. That's not gonna be your hustle. You better off playing the lottery. But on to the next topic, man, before I put everybody to sleep with our financial talk around here. Let's go to Joe Biden's administration and Democrats proposing $1,400 stimmy checks as opposed to the $2,000 stimmy checks originally proposed prior to the election. So my question is, did the Democrat Party play their constituents, or are they doing that funky math with 14 plus 600 is 2 stacks? So what y'all got?
What the YouTube said when she was like 14 minus 50 equals 47. Like
that funny math over there.
But yeah, that joint crazy. I mean, I just show me the money. I don't care. I'm not really hurting for the bread. I can go buy a diamond pendant with that. Just some little ignorance free on some let me go get chunky chain or something. I don't really care. But I think really they're just saying like, we don't really have this money and, let's not overdo it. We already overdoing it. Right. But, I really $2,000 ain't going to save somebody that's starving, but for another month, maybe 2-3 months, so.
But you're not going to throw that to the rent. So what about you, Mars? What do you think about the stimmy situation?
I mean, if you voted for them based on the fact of them giving you $2,000, the problem with your process of voting anyway. But like, I mean, no, really, I mean, it's not funny math, really. I mean, yeah, the 6 and the 4, like, what did you think they were going to do? You really didn't think they were going to just up and say, okay, yeah, here's $2,000. He can't promise that. You know, there's many different committees that have to commit to do it, and that wasn't going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Obama probably hit him on the jack like, I love my people, but that money going to Jordans and PlayStation games. Yeah. cut that down a little bit. Let's keep it a buck.
Let me throw this out there though. You see what we just talking about, the stocks, right? You see that the GameStop shot up, right? What do you think the people did with that 600? You know what I'm saying? Now that might be a factor as to the balance they talking about giving out, because now I think they rolled it back to like 1,000. I think at least the Republicans are talking 1,000, and I heard they want to put a cap on it, like at the amount you can make, like around 50 something. Last I heard, not sure if that's true or not. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard they want to cap it so they can't just hand out. They don't want you buying the chunky chains. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you got
it was $100,000. The Republicans posed if your household makes over $100,000 and no. Well, then I think they lowered $5 for every $1,000 over that $100,000. I think the Dems kind of countered back with $150. I'm still screwed either way. I'm probably not going to get that whole bread, but show me the money. Like show me that bread. Send that joint direct deposit. Let me get all of that. If it wasn't for COVID, I'd be in a strippy joint. Throwing all of that. I won't even care. Write it off on the taxes. I'm keeping it a buck right now, but on the serious note, like you were saying, Mars, like, if you voted for them for $2,000, I mean, like we talked about on earlier episodes, that's a cheap vote. They got us cheap, they got us cheap. And it's not even like, we'll give the black community an extra 300. Like, no, we getting everything that everybody else got, and they got our vote for virtually nothing. So I hope that that's not the case, but even though it probably is a big majority of the case, at least probably I would say humbly probably 50, half of the votes was because of that $2,000. Go ahead.
And then why they the thing is, like you said, it's a very cheap vote. They gave $25 million to the last what was that? The budget they passed, they gave $25 million to Pakistan for gender studies or something like that. It seems like every time they pass one of these stimulus packages, a lot of people get millions upon millions of money, right? I want to say Congress got 20 million. They got some ridiculous amount of millions just for showing up to do their job in the last, stimulus package, whatever they want to call it, right? That omnibus bill, which they rolled in conjunction with the stimmy package, right? So it's ridiculous. Like you're saying, like if you're only getting 1,400, 2,000, whatever it is, it's slim pickings compared to what was given out. One like comparison I throw out, they then gave out close to 6 trillion, I believe now. And I say you can give everybody in Chicago $1 million have change left over. You know what I'm saying? You give everybody in New York a milli, and that's the amount of money they're giving. People can't even comprehend what $1 trillion is, right? That's a million millions. That goes over people's heads. You know what I'm saying? So it's very cheap to just say, oh, we're going to give you $1,400 of your own money. Actually, it's not even your money no more. Our money gone. Our money was gone like 10 years ago in Iraq or somewhere. You got your grandkids' money right now, right? Mm-hmm. So they're going to be paying, the interest on those loans from the Fed. People think the money printer just go. Nah, man, that's borrowed money. That's borrowed from the Fed. It's crazy how the monetary system works out. You know what I'm saying? So, and honestly, like you said, go ahead.
I'm still waiting on that Lift Every Voice and Sing plan. He ain't dropped no numbers on none of that. He on there taking our hymns and making us promises with our title hymns, and ain't put no numbers on none of that. And we let him slide. At least Trump had numbers, so I'll give you half. What was that? $500 million? I think it was $500 million for like government contracting, like just dedicated for black people. I'm like, well, sign me up. Let me go get a window washing business and get a contract. Dead ass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, look, like even you can get, if you got a cleaning business and you got a dedicated business, you for government, like you gonna make bank for cleaning offices that probably they clean their shit themselves anyway. You know what I mean? So I'm still waiting on him to, we shouldn't even let him off the hook for that. We should be like, yo, Trump said he was gonna give us a half a Billy. You need to give us a whole Billy. You know what I mean? Or I can't even say what I want to say because we're gonna get demonetized.
Well, we already done. We flag. Say what you want to say.
No, you know what I mean? We post up outside too. We ain't gonna go storm no Capitol, but we sit out there and sing, lift every voice and sing for 24 hours. You know what I mean? You want to make a whole plan, lift every voice and sing plan for Black people, but don't put no money in it. That's a goddamn shame.
It's for people of color, bro. It's not for just.
I was about to say.
Trump said Black people. Trump said the African American community.
Well, I'm telling you, it's colored folks with the Democrats, yo. Us colored folks go get some
Republican next year, bro. I don't even care. I'm about to go get a make America good hat, rock some red Jordans.
That's it.
Hear somebody say something.
That's it. We never gonna get to run no ads on this joint. It's over with. Shut the computer down. Go home, everybody. We done. What you got to think else on the STEMIs, Mars, on the subject?
I mean, it's hard for me to.
Where our reparations at, yo? I want my 40 acres and my mule, bro.
It's one of those like
handing out STEMIs, bro.
Right, like you're handing out stimulus checks. Our compensation is pretty much like, okay, we gave you guys Kamala. We don't have to give you guys anything extra in this situation. We're thinking about the rest of the American people right now. And if we if we really want to stimulate the economy, it's like, go ahead and start a war. That'll help.
Oh, it's coming.
Oh, it's coming. Yeah, that's definitely coming.
Like that'll just boost everything up, and everyone will still be fine, and we just still won't get reparations either way. So
they're gonna give us reparations. It's gonna come in a Dell computer and a Honda, a Lexus.
You'll get a Kia Sorento. All you Black folks get a Kia Sorento
and a Dell, not straight stock.
That $1,400 is your down payment.
A gift card for Aldi's. But
Arby's, all the straight Arby's. You get your free roast beef sandwich.
But oh man, yeah, we definitely getting. Oh, what you got right? Yeah, Google canceled us a long time ago. Yeah, but it's crazy. I wonder how these people with large followings and shit just run ads and things like that on that, because they are not playing. You better not say the E and rhymes with perfection word on these podcasts, because you gone, bro.
Yeah, they said, and it's crazy looking at the policy. They said, don't talk about nothing. We don't care if it happened yesterday in this public news. You better not talk about it. I said, that's crazy.
Exactly. So as soon as you said that, lift every voice. That was it right there. You can't be lifting every voice on these platforms. So, but one thing I will say, one thing I was kind of flirting with, man, because if you look at a lot of these things in terms of voting and things like that, and what's your motivation for voting and things, the Black community seems to be the only community that's a lot of focus on in terms of what the Hispanic community as well now because of the growing numbers. But they focus a lot on us in terms of targeting, you know what I'm saying, different campaigns and things of that nature. But if you ask like the average voter or anything, any of these policies and things, they drawing a blank, right? Like what's the number one policy this candidate is running on? You know, what's their foreign policy, right? What's their foreign relation policies? What's their economic policies? You drawing a blank, right? Mm-hmm. But so let's go back to my earlier conversation we had, like with the car, right? I know it's going to be controversial because we already had the poll tax back in the day. Or they had the literacy test back in the day to keep Black people from voting, right? That was a big thing. So now whenever you say anything related to maybe having a test or something where people vote, or to be able to vote, it's like, oh no, here you come with the literacy test. It's like, but if you can't name the 3 branches of government, should you really be casting votes for anybody? You know what I'm saying? It don't got to be nothing super crazy, but if you watch some of these videos where they talking to people on the streets.
Oh, I was just about to say that. How many stars on the American flag? 52. Hey, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like basic stuff, you know? Some people can't name the capital of their state, man. That's nuts, man.
But they don't teach civics in school anymore?
No, civics done.
I think everybody
Oh.
should know the capital of their state because the capital usually like the worst area.
Bro, I would go with something simple as name one of your city council members. You know what I mean? You can get fancy, say two. Name one city council member, bro. If you can't name one city council member, should you really be voting for, the leader of the free world, as you want to call it? You know what I'm saying? Like it's a sticky situation, I say, but I think you should have some kind of knowledge. And it's crazy because I meet, in order to come here, well, at least previously to be a, immigrant, come over here to migrate, you had to take a whole test on the Constitution, on history, everything. So if you'll talk to the average, immigrant or person that came in from another country,
they know more.
Circles around the average American on civics, right? So it's like, why we can't hold ourselves to a certain standard? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think, but I can't speak for any other community, but you know us. You know what I mean? We gonna be like, man, just give my goddamn 1,400. They ain't gonna care about nothing. I'm telling you, if we don't get that 1,400 in the next 2 months, you gonna see all kind of social. You gonna see the Twitter fingers come out about what these people gonna do. They ain't gonna do shit, but take that. And I guarantee you that money be in the account when a big Jordan release come around. Guaranteed.
And check this out. What does it say? Like 50% of black-owned businesses right now on the brink of permanent closure, and they having a trial to impeach a dude who's not even in office right now, right? And I want to say the average salary in Congress like 174, 175K. Like I said, Ryan can correct me on that, but I know it's six figures. So you got 300, 400 something people in here.
Yeah, that's a waste of money, bro.
Arguing about a cat that's in Florida right now drinking mojitos and hitting golf balls. So
probably planning writing a book right now. I'm about to get billions off of it.
Yeah, exactly. But half this country is ain't got a job. That something needs to give on that. I think if people had more wherewithal, more foresight into what's going on, it would be raising some hell around here. But that's just my opinion.
You know what we do? Take a cue from your city, and I'm not going to say this your city, but Nick Cannon made that. What's that movie? That Chicago movie.
That crappy one. She knows Mars.
Yeah,
knows she.
That's I'm not even saying it.
She said Chicago, and she knows.
But in the movie, what they did for influence, right? The black men. What did the women do? The women influenced the black men. I think the black women need, especially with being now, as far as our community, the more affluent one economically and educationally. Need to be the ones kind of molding. Unfortunately, right? I know black women we tired of molding y'all. I got to sing. I came from a single parent household, single mom. But I think there's a lot of influence that can go down with black women, kind of telling us how we should be moving, right? Because like I know back in the day when I was a young kid, we did everything for the girls. It's still that way. You know what I mean? In the 30s, 34, 30, 40s, men do a lot of stuff for companionship, whether they say it or not. And I think these strong women, and not saying strong like as far as how they look, but the value in women economically, especially, women are the CEOs now. They're the managers, they're the bosses. The show American Gods, right? The main antagonist went from the white dude to the figurehead of a black lady, running the CEO company. Like it is what it is. That's who, is our leaders in our community. Unfortunately, we don't have the numbers from our men. I think women have more influence. So I think when it comes to just making better decisions, I think women can kind of lead our community a little bit better with how we spend our resources. So
I don't know. That's kind of the divisive thing you said there, right?
You think so?
I don't know. I think the black community kind of be driven by the matriarchy, but we have a woman here to go ahead, Mars. And
I don't think that statement's divisive. Actually, I was recently watching an interview with older black lady from she was born in 1945, and she's one of the first black women to head a STEM company. And interesting thing that she said about why Black women are more prominent in education, have higher education and more degrees, is because back in the day, Black families didn't want their daughters to have to be maids, to be susceptible to the white man. So to protect them, they was like pushing them, go into education, get your higher education. And that way they would always be quote unquote protected. And the Black man didn't have to worry about that too much because they could get a job doing anything else. So they didn't want their daughters to be raped. So they decided, hey, go in this field. And that kind of has still gone on now. And us having a higher education automatically puts us in that leader realm. So I think that's kind of an obligation as a way of us working together to say, hey, you guys protected us by making sure that we went into these fields. Now it's time for us to work together and continue to work together to keep building.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with. Not so much like to just be the figurehead, but be the voice of reason. Like, we know you guys been getting the bad end of the stick. Let's figure out a plan to, right now, at least from the people that I know, we don't have. And granted, that's small, right? I'm not, I don't surround myself with the best people, but we don't really have too many leaders. So, but I do see a lot of Black women doing a lot of things. Like, I'm just being honest, and I'm not one of the Black male leaders either. I'm keeping a buck with you, but I see a lot of Black women killing it.
But is that by design? Not to belittle.
It's partly by design.
Black women's accomplishments, because they've been killing it too. I spoke on one episode. Most educated person in America in terms of rising right now in terms of percentage of being educated and going to college is the Black woman, right? So I give them their props.
It's partly by design,
but if you look at
freedom away from the Black man,
for sure. If you look at some of the policies, the Section 8 policy, where basically single mothers are incentivized to not have a man in the household, and then you seen the recent thing where I seen on Twitter they had this white woman having her kids like pray to a Black woman for winning the election for him and things like that, and it's like you kind of you running into some sticky situation right there when you start talking about praying to the Black woman for winning this election. Come on, man. That's just nuts right there. So so I don't want to say it's a divisive statement in terms of the Black woman not crushing it, because they have been holding it down. What I'm saying is a divisive statement in terms of playing into this narrative that the Black woman don't need the Black man, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I just think that men are suckers for women, in straight, complete honesty, regardless of we don't really have many alpha men in our community. And I think that's partly, what you're, piggybacking off what you were saying, DA. But most of us are mama's boys, you know what I mean? And we weren't taught how to be men, right? And because of that, we have feminine ways. And we don't really have a lot of alpha. When I say leader, I'm only talking about alpha males. I ain't talking about the beta males that are submissive to whoever shows some resistance to whatever they trying to do. Strictly the alphas, and not just alphas physically, but mentally, how they carry themselves, how they treat a woman, how they allow themselves to be treated. And we don't have many of those. Anytime we have one of those, they sent somewhere, either prison, in the grave, or nobody trying to hear them. So exactly. But men do listen to women. How OnlyFans girls making money in porn free? How's that impossible, bro?
He always got to go to the OnlyFans. He's the OnlyFans.
I got a few subscriptions on mine. I'm like, right now.
But you know what? I did an interesting experiment, right? Because I had a debate with a brother about the terms. I think it's very important to be very, very deliberate about the terms that you use, right? If you go back to the root words of spelling, and curses, right? It's power in the spoken word, right? So I was telling his brother, he brought up something about, the young lady getting attacked in New York, where a dude tried to buy her out and all this other crazy stuff. These brothers jumped on this female, which is some straight bitch ass shit. Excuse my language. But it's like, but you went straight to like, oh, this is because of toxic masculinity. It's like, why they can't just be some bitch ass niggas? Excuse my language again, but I feel strongly about that. You know what I mean? So, but then he's like, nah, this is toxic masculinity because of this. And then the brother got offended. And this dude I kind of respect too. But I'm like, bro, we gotta be deliberate with the words we use. I say toxic masculinity, you putting a bad or a negative connotation on a bad word, right? I would never say you benevolently evil, right? That's an oxymoron. You can't combine those two. So, and I said, do experiment. You know what I mean? Type in the word masculinity in the Google search box right now. I guarantee you 9 out of 10 things that pop up, it's going to be toxic masculinity. You're not going to see nothing about divine masculinity. You're not going to see nothing about positive masculinity, which masculinity itself is a positive term. You know, it's about responsibility, taking care of your kids and your family, right? It's about, you know, being well groomed. It's about being a protector, right? But the only terms 9 out of 10 articles pull up is toxic masculinity. It's almost outlawed to be a man, right? And I think that reflected in this latest election, where if you've seen like the black men that voted for, you know, the Republican candidate was double that of the women. So that's why I say we gotta be careful with this divisiveness, because it's reflecting. It's even reflecting in how, you know, we talk to each other, you know what I mean? Particularly online. Online is a toxic place anyway, but you see a lot of division definitely on, you know, different platforms and things like that. And, you know, teach your kids that masculinity is good, man. You know what I'm saying? If you teach it correctly, it's a good thing, man. It should manifest as something good. So that's
let me Piggy, this going off the script real quick, but piggybacking off of that, I think we kind of see an example of what you're saying, like masculinity being attacked with Kevin Samuels. You know, he's been doing a lot of segments where women are calling his show. He's providing honest opinion or honest perspective. I don't say opinion, honest perspective from a man for what they want. And he's getting killed online. He's getting killed. And I don't see anything really. And I'm looking at like, yo, he providing some of these women game, and they're like, nah, you being an asshole. You know, and it's like, well, how you calling a man's show and disagreeing? Like, it's women that are telling him that that's not what men want, but they don't have men and they're looking for men. It'd be crazy. Like, you know, and they're like, well, how do you know what a man wants? He's like, well, I'm a man. And they're like, well, I know what a man wants. Well, why are you calling my show? Asking me what I could do for a man. You know, it'd just be crazy. You know, so, you know, I think we should do a Kevin Samuels topic, because it's a lot that.
Well, we already got it on the docket. Well, since you skipping ahead, since you going off the cuff of this, the brother didn't read the script, bro. You know?
It's at the end. I ain't scrolled down.
It's all right. We go skip. We freestyling right now. So let's go ahead with our recent Kevin Samuels topic, and it's Kevin Samuels exposing the mental health issues of the black woman, or is he just being a natural born asshole? So,
I want to hear a woman talk about this.
So go ahead, Mars, resident. All right, if you want to come out the background, let us know.
One, I'm not really that familiar with Kevin Samuels. I am not a fan of listening to somebody else give opinions about what men or what women want, especially when they're making money from it. But that's just me. I just kind of see him as the new, you know, Steve Harvey, pretty much. And women are dumb enough to actually listen and take opinions.
Yeah, so he has one video, right, where the woman called. She said she made 6 figures, and she wanted a man that made 6 figures, right? And now this is, to me, that I'm not going to, I hate the word toxic, but what he ended up saying was, men don't care about what you make. Right. Like, and this is true. I never cared, because we're brought up to do for women. Right. So why do I care about what the woman makes? That's just icing on the cake, if anything. But she kept saying, well, I make this, I make that, I make this. He said, man, you know, what you have, the value that you have to a man is average at best. And the whole internet chewed him up. Right. Because we care about, you know, how you look. We care about how you treat us. We care about a lot of other things outside of the pocket of a woman. That's just not a real thing. I don't hear many dudes in my life. I don't hear dudes say, oh, I can only talk to a girl if she makes 6 figures. That's not a narrative that comes across on the male side. So, you know, he got chewed up by women, and a lot of women continue to call, and a lot of women continue to talk about the money that they make, the accomplishments that they have, but they can't find a man. And when he's honest with them, you know, it's all you're an asshole, or you're a jerk, or you're male chauvinist, or you're gay. You know, he's been getting that too. I think you're gay because you don't like women. So, you know, how do you feel about just the notion that I think what's being happening is that women, I feel like can't be average. I think that was the biggest thing that that women didn't like the word average. If a man, if I was put in an average category, I would feel good. I might not feel great, but I'll feel good. But a lot of these women don't want to, and they don't want average men. You know, like what's wrong with the average man? I think the average man would be anybody that makes between 50 and 75K. Right? Is anything wrong with that? You know, it's kind of like disheartening to hear average women say that they don't want an average man. It's kind of crazy, you know?
Well,
So
nobody's taught to be the average. But Mars, what you got on that?
Yeah? I think a lot of times when particularly Black women talk about how much they make and what they can do on their own, that's a product. I feel like, especially nowadays, that's a product of this whole reality TV genre. Whereas it's like, oh, I want to, you know, have this kind of life and I want to be this person. So then you're seeing that continuously perpetuated on TV, and now you're actually starting to embody that. When you lost perspective that it's not about how much you're making, but how much that you can actually give to your community. How much can you build with your partner? And I feel like a lot of like that's in the whole idea of destroying the Black family. That's what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. And it's kind of disheartening as a Black man, right? When I'll listen to the show for entertainment. But when I hear these women, like one woman I think came on with HIV and 2 kids and say that she needed a high value man. And it's like, well, and how she demanded a high value man. You know, one girl, she was 22. She said she demanded a millionaire. And he said, well, why do you think you want the millionaire? You know, deserve that kind of man with that kind of money. She said, because I'm good with money. He said, well, what do you have in your bank account? She said nothing. You know, and it was like,
wow.
You know, and it was like, it was just, it's very disheartening and alarming. I think women are calling to prove a point, but as a man, I watch it and say, this is what some of these young men have to deal with on the dating market. And it's almost like, to me, it feels like women have amassed economic power where they can flaunt their money and separate themselves from men, right? Like, because the average Black woman makes more than the average Black man now. So now it's like, when we're talking about survivability, right? Not just like, you know, it's not just the eye candy thing or quality of life thing, but, you know, it's a survivability thing. You know, if you're separating yourself from being able to create a lineage based upon what opportunities might not be presented to a Black male, that's almost like what, you know, it was anti-masculinity. You know, like if a man is only valuable based off of what he earns, then how do we move forward as a society?
That's a good one. I'll throw my 2 cents in there. I think we all know that I think a more important thing for a man when he looks for a woman is a provider and a nurturer. You know what I'm saying? So they can honestly care less about what you make. I mean, it's a great accomplishment, it's a good thing, but I don't think the average man is looking. You want somebody who good is both of y'all making, you know, 200K combined, 300K combined, but your kid, you know, can't spell, you know, patience, you know, don't know the difference between there, and there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a good thing, right? It's not, y'all making all this bread, but you're not raising. At the end of the day, your legacy is leaving these functional kids, right? It's leaving something that's, you know, can keep going. Your bloodline can keep going. I think for most people, at least, you're seeing this. Of course, you got people that don't want kids, people that don't want a family, and they just kind of want to do their thing. But I think for most part, people that want kids and things like that, of course, you're gonna look for somebody who's more of a nurturer, more of somebody that could teach your kids something. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who's gonna make sure everybody's taken care of. So, while, you know, it may seem like it's a great accomplishment, and it is, you know what I mean, to get different degrees and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, but, you know, can you provide for the family, right? Can you build up? And it may be an old school way of looking at it, but you know what I'm saying? It's kind of how I think most dudes is programmed. I would say, you don't want your kid out there, you know what I'm saying, with chicken grease stains on his clothes while he at day.
And you don't want I don't want these young boys to get resentment from that girl in 10th grade saying, oh, you ain't shit, because, you know, the real, you know, painting the image of what a man is, right? I seen a lot of good dudes turned to the streets because women were telling the good, the good kids like, oh, you ain't, I can't talk to you, because the image of what they thought was a man, is who they weren't. And that's what I was saying. Like, I've seen a lot of dudes flip their whole life over the perspective of women. And it's just it's crazy, because how do we raise our men to protect themselves from women that say, well, you ain't shit because you don't make this, or you ain't shit because you don't look like this, coming from Rasputin.
Go ahead, what you get?
Okay.
Who's that? That Mars or Rye trying to come in? What you got?
Oh, that was me. It was Mars.
Oh, what you got?
I was gonna say, I think that goes both ways, in the aspect that a lot of times now, raising our kids, we don't give them the mental fortitude to handle whatever somebody says. So just because somebody's like, oh, you ain't shit, you need to be this way. Well, if you have the mental fortitude, you're gonna be like, man, fuck you, I don't care. But we don't teach our boys that. We don't teach our girls that. That part's been lost now.
Exactly.
I think it's hard, though. I think it's hard in today's climate too, because like when I came up, if I got into a fight at school, I can go home and that was that. With social media and the internet, you get into a fight, that might be the end of your life socially. Like say for
World Star,
World Star, and you look and you see 2.28 million views. That's 2 million. You know what I mean? Like, everybody in town has seen it. So, it's kind of hard to disconnect from whatever stigma or whatever, whatever somebody labels you. Is kind of hard to get away with that, to come off of that or to disprove. You get a lot of people that's now they're trying to prove who they are instead of just letting who they are come naturally. And I think, talking to the earlier segment, I was talking about the influence of women. I mean, I knew a lot of kids that like started selling drugs, started doing like all kind of crazy, started banging because they wasn't getting any buns. Because all the girls want fat. I hate to say it, but that's just what it was. The women did not want the regular guy.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, they see that as, I think that's experience and age, though. You know what I'm saying? When you're in the high school issue, when you're in the high school age range, that you're gonna either want the athlete, they're gonna want the athlete, they're gonna want the bad boy, the dope boy, right? I mean, if you an average dude, to hate to use that term, or you just a regular dude going to school, you know what I mean? Unless you like super popular, that's about the only other thing that's gonna save you at that point. But I mean, you also got to learn your lane too at some point. You know what I'm saying? It's people out there for you if you're not in that lane. You just got to deal with the more or less popular, people, the normal people, right? You can't aspire to that certain. And then honestly, man, once you get grown and you go out and you get out that age range, you get out that mind frame, half the people that was the coolest dudes in school when you was in high school, they end up being like working at the McDonald's.
That's,
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
80%. You got an 80% chance if you was to fly dude. Most of a lot of the old heads I know, they still like, even a lot of people I know where I'm from. They always posting pictures of high school,
Reminiscing.
My best years wasn't high school. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I get it. I mean, I was also expelled and dropped out too. But I can't relate to that. But one of the things is just, I just feel like that. I think the women's independent, like their newfound economic independence and even social independence too, right? Like, it's a lot of things that women can get away with that men can't legally, and I think it's kind of backfiring it's hurting our community definitely, because we don't look at each other the same way. I don't think women, when I listen to a lot of women talk on other platforms, they always talk about Black not feeling protected. And it's like, well, how is that the case? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know too many Black men that don't protect women. But I can't say that that's not the narrative. Like, where does that narrative come from? And if you listen to a lot of Black men, they feel like Black women don't care about them. So, like, what is the bridge between these two narratives to help further our community.
You throwing out you trying to get the secret to life over there, ain't you?
Trying to make sure my son got some good options. So I gotta.
I say, hey man, I think it's very simple, man. Just pick good partners and raise your damn kids, right? Stop letting the TV and the iPad and Facebook and fucking Instagram and MTV videos and Cardi B and fucking Megan Thee Stallion and fucking who's last dude who just got pinned up for shooting somebody. Pooh Shiesty and man, stop letting these dudes raise your kids and raise your kids yourself. I mean, that's not, and then it seems a lot easier than what it is as on paper, right? As a father, because sometimes you have to have them uncomfortable talks with them kids, man. It's like you gotta have them talks like, check it out. You know what I'm saying? I know your friends doing this and that and the third, but and sometimes you gotta hit them with the harsh truth. Like, look here, you ain't good at this certain aspect. You know what I'm saying? There been times I had to tell the kid, hey, check, you ain't this ain't your lane right here, yo. You know what I'm saying? I understand you may want to be the star athlete in this sport, but you just suck at this. We gonna find something else for you. You know what I mean? You may want to be the rapper, but you can't rhyme shit good, bro. I'm telling you,
We don't do that in our community though. You know what I mean? I feel like that word hating, and we talked about this earlier, because like you said, you hit that joint right on now. I know so many rappers, and they'll be like, yo, my new album on iTunes, and I listen to a track, and I'm like, trash, straight trash. Like, and they'd be like, yo, you 36 years old, bro. Like, you've been rapping for 12 years, and ain't made $1. At some point, somebody had to say, let's go to Home Depot and get you a job, bro. Let's start a career. Let's start, get you on the lift. Let's get you lift certified. Let's go a different route, and same with women too. Cardi B got all these women thinking they got that WAP. And it's like, well, obviously you don't.
Oh, they think they're going to go from the strip club to the MTV Awards. Like, nah, that don't. I'm speaking from personal experience. We know people in their mid-30s right now still stripping, man. And it's like, ain't no stripper retirement plan, yo. Ain't no Russell Simmons walk through that door, ask for a lap dance, and give you a contract. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be realistic with what you got going on and your strengths and your weaknesses and where you trying to head to in life. And it can't just be all about bread either, because they ain't gonna make you happy. You got multi-millionaire, celebrities. Robin Williams hung himself in $1 million home. You know what I'm saying? So it don't necessarily mean that just because you getting bread in this certain element that you're going to be happy. If you're not living on your path, your life path, then you still going to be miserable, even with all the bread in the world. And you could tell by some of these stunts these celebrities pulled that they ain't happy. You know what I'm saying?
Hell no.
They send him mad about Twitter comments, and you got $3 million, and you mad some dude with 20 followers on Twitter says something crazy about you. That means you ain't happy.
How do you know when a man loves you? Like, what is something that you in your experience that you knew? Like, for me, when a woman washed my clothes without me having to say anything, I'm like, oh yeah, I got that on lock. She in there washing gym clothes that sat there for 3 days. She got it. So what are like keys that you find when you know it's real?
I haven't found that yet.
What?
I think maybe I'm a harsh critic. Maybe. Okay. For the most part, I think of love or being in love as someone who's willing to ride with me in the improvement of my people. What I mean by that is because I grew up very much in the aspect that whatever you do, make sure that it's for the benefit of your people, that you're not harming them in any way. So I want a partner who has that same ideology. And if you can ride with me, be like my back and my front and my sides, and we're doing all these things together, we're good. Like, I don't think that I'm not this whole fairy tale thing. And that's when I say, like, people are so caught up in this fairy tale lane that it's not about that. Love comes from having a common goal. I don't have to necessarily, be all deep in love and have all these rose petals and crap. No, our ideologies are the same. What we're trying to accomplish is the same. That's the love that I need.
That's a quotable right there.
That's a
Love comes
quotable.
from having a common goal.
Right.
I think that's hits
What?
on the nail.
Yeah, make a thumbnail of that, Rye. You own it. That's gonna be the that's gonna be the quotable. We gotta have one every episode. That's gonna be the quotable. All right, let's move on to the next thing. I think we killed that one.
Yeah.
What we got here, Mr. Van Jones, cry me a river.
Zip him up, man.
Cry me a river. All right, did Van Jones deserve to get kicked off the block of blackness? That's a quotable right there. Should we expect a non-black woman questioning his blackness? And should we defend Van Jones for the conducting business on our behalf as a black community? And was he targeted for not being a liberal slave or a liberal quotable? What's it called? Liberal, basically going with the narrative. So what about Mr. Van Jones? What we got there, Mr. L?
Yeah, since I threw this on there, you know how we feel about Van Jones.
Yeah, I know.
He's gotten roasted on this platform multiple times, but after watching the clip, I think he was set up. I forget the lady's name, but the one that was grilling him, telling him like that he doesn't have to trust other people anymore, said, you took a picture with Candace Owens. And she was mad that he took a picture with Candace Owens. That's what she kept saying throughout she said some other stuff. But the biggest thing was you took a picture with Candace Owens, who is also a black woman, a conservative black woman. And so I felt like that it was just hate for real. Now, Van Jones, when he does a lot of like, I gotta be careful with my words. He does a lot of fugazi ass shit, representing us on media. But I will say that, part of this whole thing is business. And, our community was roasting Ice Cube for trying to conduct business, right, with the president. That is a position of power. We should acknowledge that at the very least. But, I don't think it was warranted for, I think she's Spanish or Latina, telling him that the people don't trust you anymore. That was like saying, really what she was saying, the black people don't trust you no more. When you ain't one of us, and I was kind of confused, like, hold up now. Like, you don't speak for me, like how you going to talk about what, we got to kick him off the block. You can't kick him off the block. You know what I mean? What you mean? We on, like, so I don't know. Did y'all get a chance to see that clip at all?
I saw like a small blurb, a news headline about it, but I didn't actually see the video. And honestly, man, I don't want to see Van Jones no more, man. That crying incident just did it in for me, yo. I don't want to see this cat. I don't want to see that cat do nothing in life.
Yo, we should make the instead of the Jordan crying face, we should do the Van Jones crying face. Just make that go viral. But I think I felt bad because I personally like Candace Owens. Candace Owens.
She's a grifter, yo. She's a great grifter. She's A1 grifter, you know what I mean? But I don't even think people in her community
Nah, they don't rock with her over there, but they do. She does their bidding, so But some of the stuff that she says is A1 on point. Now she does go off the deep end, we got to acknowledge that. But I personally like Candace Owens. I don't have a problem with Van. I just don't like how they represent us in mainstream media on either, and they both on both ends of the spectrum. But when you seeing them come together, there's probably some business being conducted, or they both sitting back like, yeah, we got us a big check from that. You know what I mean? But either way they getting bread. And I just don't like when we accept other races to tell us how black we are or what blackness is, right? Like Biden said, oh, if you don't vote for us, for me, then you're not black. And that's a quote, so, how you gonna tell me I'm not black if I don't vote for you?
I think that's a running theme, man, that people telling the black community who's not and who's. Did you ever see that article on the multiracial whiteness article? I meant to make that a topic, but I forgot about it, and now I remember it. They had an article, about talking about multiracial whiteness. Well, basically, if you didn't vote Democrat or you don't toe, these lines in terms of, the narrative that they tell, that you could possibly be an agent of white supremacy, even though you might be black as night, and it's like, y'all get to decide, what is and what isn't. And then, of course, it was a non-black person who wrote this article talking about talking about multiracial whiteness and things like that. And it's like, bro, like, are we really going there? I remember only time I ever been called a fucking coon, which was online. It's not in person because I'd have smacked the dog mess. But it was a white dude. Like, you know what I mean? I was making a point about something, and the white dude was like, "Well, it's coon shit." What? What you say, white boy? What about that? I got a whole bank account with funds in it just so I could take a vacation to whatever city you in and smack you up and go see the sights at the same time. And I don't condone violence just for the narrative, but it's like, how does everybody else decide what's the portrayal of blackness, or what makes you black, or why you consider part of the black community outside when you're not even in the black community yourself? You know what I mean? That's like the ultimate privilege to me, if you get to dictate what blackness is and you ain't even black. You know what I'm saying?
Suffering. You ain't even going through none of the struggle. You ain't up with us shooting in the gym. You can tell me how to live being black, right? Exactly. And that's what set me off with the Van Jones incident. That we know who he is, we understand that, but how you going on national TV on what's that show, the View, on the View, which is one of the biggest shows, and say pretty much, right, like, you kicked off the block. We don't rock with you no more. And it's like, we handle him on our time, you know what I mean, or in our way. Like, when did you now, and it's kind of scary because they start, when you see what like how Black Lives Matters integrate everybody in everything, and it's like, we starting to lose the very same struggle in our identity that makes us strong, right? Like, we overcame a lot in the last 1,000 years, right? And now they're trying to bring in everybody else struggle, right? Now, it's so crazy because when you talk to other races, they always tell about their struggles. They always talk about their immigration story. And it's like, but I mean, come on now. Like, come on, like, let's keep it a buck. Like, let's not go there, and it's like, I can't.
The thing is, my bad to cut you off, bro. Yeah. But my thing is, so many people have come up off the backs of what black people have done. And it's ridiculous. Like the Civil Rights Act of 1963, man. It is so many people eating off that damn thing that, black people had to take the majority and brunt of the ass whoopings and fire hoses. And not saying it wasn't different races that participated in that, but the vast majority was us, our ancestors. They taking them ass whoopings to get, legislation passed. And now everybody eating off that. Like, if you gay, you fall into the Civil Rights Act. If you got, white women fall into the, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like everybody took the ass. I mean, we don't want to take the ass whooping, but everybody eating off the plate.
Wait, hold on. Have you ever worked with an Irish person or a person of Irish lineage?
Oh, here we go. Don't even run no ads on this ride. Don't run no Google ads. We done.
When they, it always starts off like they say something. Oh, this isn't racist, what I'm about to tell you. It's about to be teetering that line. And then they go into, well, I can say that because my ancestors, and it's like,
they were slaves.
Yeah, like, no.
They were slaves too. Like, here we go.
And so, but a lot of that goes to you can say that, like a lot of it's hard because like what I fear most is that we, for generations down the line, forget about all of this. That they, because they predict that in the near, and this is why a lot of these white people freaking out, is that all these interracial couples are normalized now, right? And this is kind of what we were talking to on the last pod with the colorism. But now white men are like, oh, I can go get that chocolate cyst over there. You know what I mean? Like, and definitely, but white women have been courting black men for some time now. So the future is going to look a lot like a lot of Blake Griffins running around. You know what I'm saying? So when that happens, does that kind of clean the slate of all of the transgressions that happened to us? And do we lose that identity, right? Like we have the kind of the same fears of what white men have. Like, well, shit, I'm not going to be white anymore. Like, you damn sure ain't. You know what I mean? We ain't going to be black no more. So that identity, it's a real thing. And I think our identity brings us hope. Everybody voted Obama in because he was black. Like, let's keep it a buck. Ain't nobody knew who the hell Barack was. He was a black man running for president. You got my vote. And it was hope. It was like, look where we came from and look where we are. That's why Jay-Z is a polarizing figure, right? Jay-Z still could talk about moving coke, but he ain't moving coke no more. His wife is Beyonce, beautiful kids. He on top of the business platforms, and our blackness is what gives future generations hope. And I just hope we don't lose that. It's what got the women educated. It's what got men out here doing what they doing. It's what grounds us, So that's just my fear.
I mean, that's an interesting topic, because if you look at like the recent Super Bowl we just had, right? One of the people that was the face of the Super Bowl was the Chiefs quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, who's of mixed race, right? And he was talking about oppression, things like that, talking about, the changes in social justice and stuff. But it's like, all right, so you got, your white moms, you got your lily white wife.
Yeah.
So it's almost confusing, right? And then it's like when you go to, the talk earlier we had, things about reparations and things like that. It's like, so in the case of a Patrick Mahomes, does he get like a quarter of a check? How the hell does that work? You know what I'm saying? It's like, how does this work? And as the generations go on, like I say, we become more mixed and become more of, I guess your identity would go more towards American than, what your ethnicity or what you're considered your race is. I don't know how that would work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's interesting. It'll be an interesting future, as people intermingle, people mix and all that other stuff. It's like, so do we still go by the same narrative? You know what I mean? Do we go by the one drop rule in terms of determining your, ethnicity, racial identification, things like that? It's going to be interesting.
And not to empathize with white supremacists or racism, but I mean, it's kind of, it's communication, looking at where white men look at this from, right? They're living in a country of non-white people. The power and the influence is, I mean, they have the economic power, but everything else is, I mean, the engine, the steam that's pushing the engine right now is non-white.
Well, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Like, why are we called minority? If you look around the world, the vast majority of the world is melanated, yo. Like,
because it's economic minority. You know what I mean? That's what they really want to say is the poor people. You're the minority. We're talking about the poor people.
Talk about your cash. We talk about your bank account, not your.
Exactly. Exactly. That's really what that is. And then even I remember listening to an article where ex FBI agent was saying that when they categorize white and black, what happens is that a lot of mixed, like Latino and white Americans, they consider themselves white because of the privilege. So the numbers always come out skewed of nationalities, because even black, like if you have a fair skin, sometimes you put down on white, for that privilege. So, the majority is always going to be that. But we live in a more acceptable society of race. Now you're getting people saying, "Oh, I'm Philippine in this." Well, now you're not white anymore. You know what I mean? Like, so they're having a knee-jerk reaction to the survivability, and they die more than they procreate, right? And a lot of that, they have a whole TV show called The Handmaid's Tale about that. You know what I mean? And look at what they have to impose with abortion laws, right? Like, what was that, Alabama, where they made it illegal to get an abortion? I think in general,
yeah.
So, and a lot of that is because their women are, their women were oppressed too, like they couldn't even vote when they weren't slaves, so now their women have the, economic advantages of not having to be tied to their men and they're dying at a rate faster than they could procreate. And their men are, that capital wasn't just we want Trump. That's like we want our white privilege. That's what it is. It's not so much we hate black people or we hate this group. It's we like our white privilege. And that's not just economically, but that's being able to get pulled over and not feel like you about to die. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine if you flip the community and you have 99% black cops and one white cop? You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think the whole narrative today nowadays is flipping the narrative. Well, flipping the whole dichotomy on its head, because if you look at it right now, you have FBI going after 45 supporters, 45 voters, things like that, right? And now it's like, so these issues we've been telling you about in the black community for years, with police brutality, with over policing the black community, with locking us up for no reason, victimless drug laws and things like that, mass incarceration. Now the other side is feeling that, right? Mm-hmm. Those same people that are supporting the thin blue line are now being targeted by that same thin blue line. So now the whole narrative is flipped. Now it's like, oh, okay, we see what y'all was talking about, right? Mm-hmm. We see what y'all was talking about. We getting smacked up we had to taking rubber bullets now. Okay, we see what this is like. But I think overall it's just the increase in police state, man. It's been talked about for years. Like, the police state is increasing. You're getting military grade weapons, military grade equipment in urban communities. But now those same things y'all gave them, they coming after you too. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you're seeing a flip, and it's crazy. But let's go ahead and hit this last subject. Getting running toward the end of the show here. So, and if we aren't banned yet, this one will do it. Transgenders now allowed to join the military and also participate in the school sports of the gender in which they identify. Is that a win for civil rights, or could it possibly be detrimental to biological men and women, as they try to get scholarships and things like that in the school system? I want to say Maryland had a crazy thing with what top 3 runners in track and field was transgender girls. Mm-hmm. So that could affect things of scholarship. I don't know if the Olympics actually allow it now. I think they still do like a chromosome test or something crazy.
Yeah, they could remember that one girl that was smoking everybody, and then they actually tested her testosterone, and then she didn't know she was an hermaphrodite when they started doing like medical tests on her, and they took away all her golds and everything. So I have a daughter, and if my daughter decided to wrestle or do karate and she had to fight against a boy that wanted to identify as a girl, I don't know how because I'm a man, I understand the genetic differences fully of what my daughter is going up against. And I personally mentally couldn't I don't think I would be easily able to wrap my head around accepting my daughter having to fight a boy, period. Like I might spare that little kid, and across the room, straight Goldberg, but I just don't. But it's weird, right? Because what if you put a woman as a transgender, put her in a ring? You know what I'm saying? Like, if we flip that, is it more acceptable? Or are we still looking at it like, well, she's still a woman, but if she's been juiced with testosterone for 5 years, you know what I mean? And she got a 10-pack like a god, you know what I mean? Or are we going to look at it like, she's not vulnerable either? Do we even still say she at that point? Like, it's such a confusing thing, I don't know how they legalize it.
Well, I think Mars would be good at this, as an athlete, former athlete or current athlete, however you want to phrase it yourself. What do you think about the transgender push?
Just create a different category. That's it.
Others,
really just create a different category, because it's not fair at all. Like, even if they say with the testosterone levels, like for a young boy transitioning over to a young girl, and they say, oh, well, you have to take, these pills to reduce your testosterone levels. you still have an advantage because your muscles recover faster still. So it's like, hey, that doesn't even matter. If you just create a different category for it, they can still get scholarships, create a scholarship specifically for them. You know, biological girls still have a scholarship. Biological boys still have a scholarship. It's really not that complicated.
It could work. Would you need a whole different team? I mean, we do. We also know the scholarships kind of limited, right? It's you're gonna have a certain amount of with D1 sports or whatever, or even D2 or D3. You can only have a certain amount of scholarship athletes.
Yeah.
So would that take away from that greater pool, or would you have to create a whole new batch of scholarships for this whole new category of athletes? You know, I think it's logistically a little bit more complicated than that. You know what I'm saying?
Would you rock some Air Jenners?
Some Air Bruces?
Yeah, some Bruce Almighty's. Would you rock some Bruce Almighty show? You know, because on the ESPN joint, right? He accepted a Lifetime Achievement Award for the accomplishments of Bruce Jenner, but he accepted it as Caitlyn Jenner. I felt like they should have cut his mic off.
But the thing is, it's like no rules to it, right? Like you don't even have to like cut the Bozak off, you know, be considered. You know what I mean?
No,
like
you just gotta have makeup on and a wig.
LeBron James can wake up tomorrow and say, you know what? I identify as a woman. Go to the WNBA and average 70 points.
That's what Nate Robinson got to do. Nate Robinson got to wear a wig for getting knocked out by Jake Paul, and he got to go to the WNBA and smoke everybody.
Joanna Nate. Yo, we gotta have. Yeah, we bad right here, man. It was a good podcast we had at one point, you know.
It was fun while it lasted, guys.
The military situation is crazy, though, right? Because they must be getting some money from somewhere. Because now, do you put a woman transgender in the shower with boys? Like, ain't you got a 3-minute shower. You gonna see some things. You know what I mean? You look at the wall, but you know you see a woman, and then you get the weirdos that's like, oh, that's not fully transition. You know, like it's you could put some people in some dangerous situations that way. I don't think everybody's ready for that. You know, like I you know, as far as serving, who cares? There's a lot of transgenders already serving. No, that's nothing new. There ain't nothing new. But now you just saying. But the only thing I don't like about the military thing is one of the clauses. I remember listening to some briefings is that they will pay with taxpayer dollars for somebody to transition.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to go into that. Yeah. And they also have to keep paying for the hormone because you can't just stop the hormones. They need that for life. So that's almost like a disability. So it might lead to a situation where people who want to transition will join the military just to get their stuff paid for. You know what I'm saying? Why would you not? You can go to the Guard. You know what I'm saying? And get everything paid for and get dismissed next year. It's so easy to get out the damn Guard.
Monday through Friday, you gym. Saturday and Sunday, you Joanne. And they paying for it, you know?
Yeah, that's the only issue I would see. But as far as everything else, I mean, you can just really pretty much simplify it. If you're not opposed to being, you know, non-politically correct, you know, like you got a dick or you don't. You know, penis or no penis. You know, you put it on the wall. Hey, no matter who you are, if you got a penis, you go over here. You don't, you dead. You know what I mean?
Yo, can you imagine a transgender smashing your girl?
Oh my God!
Like, you know how much trauma that would bring to like a
man. Look here. You're gonna make us wrap up the episode on.
Like, yo,
we not visualized.
Yo. Heterosexuals need to be protected. That's all I'm saying.
Hetero rights. This dude crazy.
Can we not say that? Is that not viable?
Mars, what you got? You got anything?
Actually, on that part, it kind of now it starts to feel like if you are hetero, that there's something wrong with it. Like I've definitely encountered where it's because I get mistaken for a lesbian all the time, and it's like, yo, I'm not a lesbian. I'm not interested. It's like, oh, well, you know, you must be homophobic. No. Just because I'm not a lesbian and I never want to try it and I don't want to do anything like that doesn't make me a homophobe.
Only women can say that, though. Only women can do that. Because
Yeah, that's
like,
crazy.
as a man, like if you don't like a woman, she could be like, "Oh, you must be gay." Like, you know, like, you know, like that happens a lot. Like, it's crazy.
That's ridiculous to me.
Yeah,
These are ridiculous.
yeah. This society is almost and then you see the same thing when you watch like television. I know much people watch television nowadays, but it's almost like a quota, right? It's like, all right, we got to have, two black dudes. We got to have the Asian person. We got to have the person who's kind of, you can't tell what the hell he is. You got to have them. You got to have, two gay dudes, and you got to have the transgender and one lesbian. It's like almost like a quota, like you ordering a list. You know what I'm saying?
You know what started that? Real World. The show Real World on MTV. Because remember when that black dude slapped the girl who was having like she had like a disease, and a tall black dude, and she said, "You're gay," and he slapped the hell out of her, yo. And ever since then, they typecast the same type of black dude, because I think he was a polarizing character where people didn't know if he was gay or straight, and they typecast black dudes after that season to be the same, like metrosexual black guy, and now it's like full flown. Anytime you turn on TV, I think they got a whole TV on HBO about just gay black dudes, and it's just hard. I remember it's actually about a woman, but like most of the scenes are gay black guys, and it's like, this made me uncomfortable. Like,
but isn't the whole purpose is to make it, not something that's publicized like that, right? Like when you see a straight couple walking the street, you don't never be like, "Oh, look at that straight couple over there. That's so amazing. They're so strong and brave. Look at them hold hands and kissing in the fucking park." You know what I mean? Like it's supposed to be something I thought the whole purpose of the movement was to normalize things, right? So how do you normalize things when you're always highlighting how, different it is? It doesn't make sense in the long run, right? It's more agendized than something. It almost feels inauthentic, right? It's like, it's like even when Super Bowl thing, this is kind of off subject a little bit, but it's like I was watching like, ESPN. ESPN is like the wokeness of sports, right? It's like whenever a woman gets a job, it's like, the NFL hired, 2 black women today. It's like, why can't they just hire the professional person who's doing the job, who deserved to have this position, who's killing it right now, right? Why it always has to be highlighted as, we got, now we got 3 women in the NFL, reffing now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I thought the whole purpose was that this should be a normal thing. Why not cover it like y'all would cover anybody else getting hired for that job, right? Like, we got this professional person that, like Becky Hammond. I think Becky Hammond will be an excellent NBA coach, right? But the moment she gets hired, it's going to be a ticker tape parade. It's going to be 5 to 10 commercials. She's going to get an automatic Nike deal for about $30-40 million. The only head coach
might suck. Yeah, fair because her team might suck and might not have. She's been coaching under Coach Pop for years now, but maybe like 8 years now, right? So she's probably more qualified to coach than a lot of people right now.
Exactly. It would not be a big deal if she got hired, but you already know the moment it happens, it's got to be, you know what I'm saying, ticker tape parade down Madison Avenue, with balloons and floats and we got to ask LeBron James how he feels. We got to ask LeBron James' opinion on everything too. It's like, it's a war in Iran.
I think now he at that age where he like, nah, I'm not about to play with y'all. Leave me alone. Let me go out there and win another ring.
It was a lunar eclipse, LeBron. How do you feel about the lunar eclipse? Well, But so that's one thing I would say in terms of like this woke culture, this woke, universe that we live in right now. It's like if you want to normalize things, let it be normal. Cover it like normal people. You know what I mean? I think it's insulting personally if you're telling me, this the 6th black coach hired, and why he can't just be a good coach. You know what I'm saying?
It put a spotlight on them to do more than to have a higher expectation, because they'll get hired, but then they get fired quick too. Like they went 4-8 this year, or 4-12 this year. They didn't. This black coach, he only got. It makes that it perpetuates that narrative. He only got hired because he was black.
Exactly. So you know what I'm saying. I see it as an insult personally, but some people like to be catered to, or some people like the whole narrative of, we equal now. It's like not really. The fact that you even got to highlight this means it's not an equal thing. You know what I'm saying?
It's like getting a participation trophy for thinking. It's crazy. But you know what? One thing I don't like about this whole, sexuality inclusion is that it'd be hard as hell to shop for shit. Everything is unisex now. Like, what happened to the male stuff and women's stuff? Like, sizes be unisex. Like, yo, I bought an extra large. Why is this a medium? Why is this denim jacket? I can't get my arms in it right now. It says extra large. Like, and it's in the men's section. Like, yo, this is the same size as my wife's jacket, and it says extra large. They started like, they making a lot of things unisex. I feel it's not saying it. It's not saying unisex jacket, but like if I get an XL and it's a medium, I got mediums that's bigger than some of the recent stuff I picked up. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I'm feeling like they're putting it in the men's, but it's really for women that want to be men.
I don't know, man. You got some extra medium dudes nowadays, man. Like, what's the average dude? Like $160 nowadays, man.
But that's not an extra large, though. If you're $160, stay in that medium, yo. Extra large got to fit like an extra large. I just feel like it's like a extra large in women's,
Like, good luck, find some jogger pants. Ain't got a cuff at the bottom of it. You know what I'm saying?
I wore some jogger pants to the gym. I couldn't even do it, bro. I was in there walking around looking like some Wagyu beef. It's like, damn, and it was crazy because you be in there focused, and I'm used to male chauvinist too, to an extent where you over sexualize women and sometimes just looking. But I was getting like walking past women and they wasn't even looking at my face. I said, this is awkward. I felt violated. It's crazy.
We'll end the podcast on the note of El Miguel getting sexually harassed at the gym. All right, so that's what we got, episode 19. All right, let me toss it over to my co-hosts here, man, and see what they got. El Miguel, you got anything you want to plug? You got any socials you want to give out, anything like that?
My guy, he just dropped the album on iTunes. Mike Larry Bluto. Check him out. It's fire. It's been on heavy rotation. And support black businesses, man. He got a good story. We just talk about bringing them on. And we just talk about bringing back the what's the other joint? The
the Hip Hop High Society.
Yeah, Hip Hop High Society and maybe Bridge. But we're still trying to get him on the show because he got an interesting story. But he's killing it. And his album was legitimately good. It's not even like a shameless plug. I was highly impressed. I got him thrown in with the Sue Surf and a couple other artists that I have on heavy rotation. So shout out to Mike Larry, Plainfield, New Jersey. Bluto, he dropped some quality. So that's my only shout out.
Plainfield in the building. All right, Mars, what you got?
For nonprofit Fit Black and Educated, we have a Black Love 5K that's going on from, now all the way through May 19th, Malcolm X's birthday. And then also starting this Friday, we're doing the 5K, you can register at blkluv5k.com. And we're also doing a virtual watch party night every Friday this month. We're doing American Skin, Marshall, and the Tuskegee Airmen.
Word, dope.
Word. Yeah, that's dope.
Hey, so
I wanted to throw in Rosewood, but I was told no.
You're redacted. Right, you still woke back there? I thought I heard some snoring earlier, man. I think Rod was back.
No, I'm awake. But I need to get my life together because I really don't have anything to plug. So
it's all right. You'll get someone. You'll get a hobby or something.
One of these days.
We still love you. It don't matter. And I don't really have anything myself, so I'm right there with you. It's been a trying week for me, man. Somebody hit my poor baby in my car, so I'm dealing with that. Gotta get my baby out the car hospital, so I'm dealing with that plus all the family stuff. So I don't have nothing to plug this week, but hopefully next week, you know what I'm saying, I gotta get some new reviews on Hip Hop High Society. I say that every week, but I'm gonna do it. But that's all I pretty much got. And once again, follow us on all forms of social media, particularly Twitter and Instagram, because our follow Suzuki and Skimpy, and I see them listening numbers. So I know a lot of y'all listen. So start playing to get on them socials and add us, man. Get them numbers up. And
do you guys want to do? My fault to interrupt, but do you want to go to maybe do because it's interactive, right? And maybe do video. Maybe do an episode with some video. Throw it on the tube.
Yeah, I mean, we already banned. We might as well go ahead and add our faces to the watch list. So
I had think of
that. But yeah, I plan on adding the backdrop and also doing some lives too, man. I wouldn't mind throwing a live every day once we get the listenership up to a certain level and do some lives, get some of that super chat money so we can upgrade some stuff. So yeah, that's definitely in the works. But that's all I got. So on behalf of everybody here at the Harsh Reality Podcast, I got to say peace.
Be safe, everyone.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.